And with a difference, it's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GBnews, Britain's news channel.
Well, debate time is 5:39. You with me, Martin Daubney, here on GB News. Now, Glamour Magazine has declared that 9 biological men are their Women of the Year. But J.K. Rowling, the author, has blasted Glamour UK online for its decision, accusing the publication of telling girls that men are better women than they are. Let's now speak with the podcast host of the Trans Lobby, and that's Freda Wallace. Freda, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have your company. What do you make, A, of the decision to include 9 trans women, that's biological men, in the Women of the Year list? And then can I maybe get your take on J.K. Rowling's response?
Yeah, I think there's 2 sides to this. I think, the magazine industry is kind of in its death row. Print media is like going down the pan. I mean, I know you used to work in print media, and you've seen that side of the industry where it's a kind of exploitation industry, really, isn't it? So I can see them making these decisions based on because we are talking about it. We're talking about the story. This will sell their magazine. So there is that side of it. And for trans women or, gender non-conforming people, we like to see good representation. We like to see beautiful versions of ourselves, and it's like aspirational. I think that's positive. I think that's good. But I think with this story, what comes across to me is it's a cynical development, because I want to see trans women being portrayed in ordinary roles. I want to see trans women just being celebrated for doing ordinary jobs, not being exceptional or amazingly beautiful. So there is that side of it. So, and also J.K. Rowling's comments. I mean, J.K. Rowling isn't going to be in Glamour magazine, is she? Let's face it. So, I can see the bitterness there.
Well, I don't suppose she needs to be. She's a multi-millionaire, and she's not judged on her looks alone. But let me put her comments direct to you then, as we're at it. J.K. Rowling said, "I grew up in an era when mainstream women's magazines told girls they needed to be thinner and prettier. Now mainstream women's magazines tell girls that men are better women than they are. Why does a women's magazine need to have biological men as its Women of the Year? There's enough women, aren't there?"
Well, there's plenty of biological men in women's magazines. Beauty isn't about gender. It's about aspiration. So a lot of the images you see of people in magazines, it's not about representation. It's about aspiration. So, I mean, the idea that this is a new development, I mean, where has she been for the last 50 years? When was this never a thing? In Hollywood, in going back to the 1950s, our iconic women, the idea of what women look like and our aspiration of women come from that era. I know I probably fall for some of those trappings. I look at beautiful women and think, oh my God, I'd love to look like that, as do all people. So there are, they put like Harry Styles and David Beckham. Are men supposed to look at that and think, oh God, this is how I'm supposed to be? Maybe, but it's something you become. That is the thing about gender. You aren't born that way. You look at these things, you aspire to be them. You go to the gym, you may take a skinny jab, you may do all these things to become the gender affirmed thing you want to be. It's got nothing to do with whether you're trans or not.
Well, it does, because here's the point. You can go to the gym all you like, you can buy all the clothes you like, you can take all the jabs you like, but you can't change your chromosomes. You can't change what you are. You can say... You can say, a man can say they're a woman, but doesn't make them a woman. And my point is this: why should a man take the position of a woman in a Woman of the Year role? Give it to a woman.
Because I did say this is a cynical move by a magazine that knows that you will talk about it. But Martin, you're not going to see chromosomes on the cover of a magazine unless it's a magazine about biology. And interestingly, magazines about biology will tell you that sex is not binary. That's what the science says. So, that's where we are.
well, I mean, look, the Supreme Law doesn't agree with that. The science doesn't agree with that. The Supreme Court ruled quite clearly that a woman is a biological woman, and biology can't be changed. I wish everybody a full and happy life, but you can't change reality.
But the Supreme Court should not be deciding what women are. Women should be deciding what women are. Because women are self-actualizing. Women will be whatever they want to be. If somebody asks me what is a woman, my answer might be Stormy Daniels or Anne Widdecombe. I don't know. It depends which woman inspires me in that moment.
Both of those names you mentioned there, Freda, are actual women with women's chromosomes. So you're correct.
Yeah. I accept that. I accept that. You can make that distinction. But when it comes to glamour and magazines, when it comes to the way people are perceived, we're not looking down a microscope to look at chromosomes. And when you do look down a microscope, you don't get answers, you get questions. That's how science works.
Do you think J.K. Rowling... I mean, you've got a thing behind you saying turf repellent, how to spot a fascist. Do you think that J.K. Rowling, with her positions, do you think she is a fascist?
I mean, fascism is incremental. It starts off where you think, I've got genuine concerns, you can become radicalised, and before you know it, you're making posts about trans women being a threat to society. And that demonises, it dehumanises, it sexualises people in ways where they think they can throw insults at me on social media, and that is perfectly fine. And that is how fascism works. It's not like I'm calling somebody a Nazi. It's that book behind me is by Umberto Eco, and it will list to you what the warning signs of fascism are. And one of them is the authoritarian idea of masculinity and femininity and how it defines us. And if you start making absolutist and biological essentialist claims about what women or men are, you exclude people who don't fit into those categories very easily.
OK, well, it's fascinating stuff. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to have your company. And that's Freda Wallace, the podcast host of the Trans Lobby. Happy Halloween. Thank you very, very much indeed. Now, we reached out to Condé Nast, who's the